Hello and welcome to the next YouTube video on my channel. If you are a chess beginner who wants to get better at the game, then this video is just right for you. But if you want to learn how to play chess, then feel free to check out the other videos on my YouTube channel in which I've shown and explained to you how to play chess, the first rules of chess, the chess board, the chess pieces, and so on. So, in this video I will talk about the 3 best chess openings for beginners. So let's get started. This is part 2 of this video series, and in this video I will focus on defenses that you can play when you're playing the black chess pieces. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, then check it out first and come back to this video again. The first defense with which I would like to start is the Sicilian Defense. So white starts pretty common with e2, e4. But now you don't answer with e7, e5, which is also pretty common for black, but rather with pawn c5. Those of you who want to defend and play aggressively with black usually choose the Sicilian defense. Very often white will continue with knight f3 with the plan to play pawn d4 after, which gives them an advantage in the center. Here you now have 3 main options how to answer to this move with the knight on f3. The first one is the Open Sicilian, and that's pawn d6. The second one is pawn e6, but you can also play knight c6. But let's say you play the Open Sicilian, so pawn d6. This move's pretty common, but also pretty good. It defends or supports your pawn on c5. It also attacks the square on e5, so you have also more control about the center. And it also activates the queen's bishop on c8. So you can move out now here and develop. In most of the cases, the white army will normally continue with their main plan. So, pawn d4. And in this situation, I will just recommend you to trade the pawns in the center. So you take white's pawn, and now the white army will either take with the knight or with the queen. In most of the cases, I think they will take with their knight. And now you can just continue with developing your chess pieces and play after your general plan of this game. The second chess defense which I would like to show you is the French defense. It's also pretty interesting, but I would say a bit more complicated than the other ones. So after white plays pawn e4, you don't play pawn e5, which is also pretty common, but rather e6. The white army uses this to attack the center of the chessboard. They play pawn d4. And now you also bring out or develop your second pawn, so you play pawn d7 on d5. These 2 moves are the main moves of the French defense. The French defense is one of the first strategic openings that every chess player should learn. One risk in the French opening, or in the French defense, is that it can be very difficult to develop your bishop here on c8. The white player, so your opponent, must now react by either advancing the pawn, so like this, which will lead to the advance variation, where they will put immediate pressure on the black's king side here. But you, playing as black, have more than enough options how to put the pawn here on e5 under big pressure. You can do this with moves like pawn c5, but also knight h6, followed obviously directly by knight f5. Another choice for the white army here is to defend the pawn on e4, which is now attacked by the black pawn on d5. So here, in most of the cases, white will play knight c3. That's the main line. But it can also play knight d2. But out of these 2 possible defenses, the first one is the most common. So, knight c3, because it does not block the bishop on c1, which can now develop, but it also puts mild pressure on black's pawn on d5. So black has many possible answers, including the Wiener variation. So bishop b4, which is actually pretty good, because it pins the black knight now and leads to extremely complex positions, which are usually closed. And now I already come to my third and also to my last defense, which I would like to show you in this video, and that's the Slavenic Defense, also called the Slav Defense. And this defense does not begin with white playing pawn e4, but rather with white playing pawn d4. And now you just answer with a similar move, and after white has attacked your pawn on d5 with the second pawn, with the move from c2 on c4, you just play pawn c6. These are also the two main moves of the Slav defense. The Slav defense is very solid and defends the d5 pawn, which is now attacked by white's c4 pawn, in the safest way that's possible. The black pieces here can now all develop without any problems. The white army now has three main lines how to answer. The first one is knight c3, which attacks the black pawn on d5 the second time. White can also trade the pawns here in the center all the time, but the continuation variation, which is played the most with the white chess pieces here, is knight f3. With this move, white develops the knight, and they now have more control about the e5 square, which is directly in the center and a very important square on the chessboard. This move also gives them more flexibility. White can now, for example, play pawn e4, but they can also always trade pawns here now in the center of the chessboard. When you're playing the black chess pieces here, just try to not lose the control over the center of the chessboard here. Here you can, for example, play now knight f6, but you can also play pawn e6 to defend your pawn on d5 with the second time. That was it already with this video about part 2 about the 3 best chess openings or defenses for beginners, playing as black. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye!